Hello friends, welcome to today's daily devotion. I'm reading to you out of the book of Romans chapter 8, verses 14 through 17. Hear now these words. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. The Spirit you received does not make you slaves so that you live in fear again. Rather, the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. And by him we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. Now, if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings in order that we may also share in his glory. There is so much to be unpacked in this little bitty section of Romans chapter 8. First of all, this idea of being adopted by God, that God doesn't claim you just as a creation, but as a child. Now, think about the ramifications of that for an instant, because when we do something to create something, let's say that you are a gardener and you go out and you prepare your soil, you till the ground, you get rid of all of the weeds, you add the soil nutrients, the fertilizers, and then you plant your seeds, and then you watch them, you take care of them, you water them, and they begin to sprout and grow and eventually produce fruit. How do you feel about that tomato out of your garden compared to the tomato that you bought at the grocery store? Well, the one that came from your garden, not only is it going to taste better, but it's going to be better and more important because of how much investment you made in that tomato. Whereas if you just went to Kroger, it's one of billions of tomatoes that somebody grew in California or Mexico or somewhere else in the world. Well, my friends, it's easy for us to think that God thinks of us as a Kroger tomato, but no, God thinks of us as a product of his garden. You are that precious to him. You are his child. You are an heir of God's glory, of God's richness, of God's abundance. You get the opportunity to share in that with Jesus. Now, if that doesn't put tingles down your spine, maybe you need to have your spiritual temperature checked. For me, that's just an amazing, amazing thing. But there is one catch. And the catch is we have to be willing to suffer with Christ in order to share in his glory. That means following Jesus isn't a cakewalk. Following Jesus is more like sometimes walking on hot coals. There are going to be times that we don't want what we get, but getting what we get allows us to get what we want going down the road. So remember this, sometimes you're going to suffer, but the suffer leads to glory, and the glory is God's riches, and he cares for you that much. And I'll see you tomorrow for another daily devotion.